Hello YouTube, Komodo Gaming here, playing some more Scrap Mechanic. Today's gonna be a special episode. I'm gonna let you guys see the project that I'm working on, and it's gonna take a little bit to finish. I think I can get this through in 2 parts, so the second part should be towards the end of the week. Now, I've been working on something huge. This is what I've been working on for the past probably 9 hours. Well, not all at once. I have probably about 9 hours in this build right now. And this is my Galleon. Now, the plan for this ship is for it to be able to hover and you can drive it all around the map and for it to do all sorts of neat things. I overestimated how long this was going to take. I thought, maybe I can get this through in maybe a day. And that's just not going to happen. There's just way too much work that's going to have to happen to this ship to make it hover around the map and make it as detailed as I want it to be. I'm going to give you guys a little look of the outside here. I'm just going to hover around. There's a lot of work that's gone into this thing. I'm going to show you this one over here. This is where I started out, and I went ahead and saved this thing several times because I've had a lot of crashes with this thing. I get these temporary folder crashes and like Scrap Mechanic freezes up and it just like completely just blows out on me, and it's been a little frustrating, but it's not, I don't think it's because of the ship size. I think it's just how much I'm doing at once, and then when I start painting a lot it seems to crash the game. So that's what was happening. So I needed to save several versions of this, but yeah, this is towards the beginning. Now this one is actually longer than that one is. I finally cut this thing down a little bit because it started looking like a big tanker. So I cut it down and I've added more to the back, so I just want to give you guys a look and just a feel for how big this thing started out as. It's still huge. I mean, it's big and it's going to hopefully hover. I started working on the thrusters. You can see some of them in the front here, some of them in the back. I'm going to have some angled thrusters, or not angled thrusters, some sensors and some thrusters that are going to try to keep this thing from rolling. Con Gaming, I showed his hover ship off, and it was great how he did it. He's got these like anti-roll thrusters inside, so I'm going to try to use some of those to keep this thing from tipping because it is really big. But yeah, you've got those down there. Now it's somewhat at the point where it'll hover, but I had to stop because I know I'm going to be adding more weight. So I'm going to have to compensate again. So I don't want to go ahead and just finish it now and then go add more weight and then throw it off balance again. So I just started them out here. Now this thing does not like hitting the ground. That's one big block that's going to make a big collision on the ground. So it crawls if this thing is just lying down on the ground. So you see these little pegs that are poking out. Those will fold out, so if I take this thing off this block, it doesn't really lag, so that's good because this is not pretty once it hits the ground. Now, I have a couple concerns, and some of them are going to be with the amount of bearings that I'm using on the inside. I'm trying to keep this thing as friendly as possible because I do want to put it on the workshop. It is all vanilla parts, so I want you guys to be able to use it. So I'm going to have a couple things I'm going to really have to look at. Now let's go ahead and crawl up in here. I think I can do this with a lift. Let's see if I can jump up. And please, forgive my mess here. I've been doing a lot with just breaking it apart and I've made a huge mess. Before we check this thing out, I want to show you guys a couple tools that I've been using to build this. This is the first tool that's really helped me. I better go ahead and give credit where credit's due here. This is by Mechanic 53. It's on the workshop. You can see this lift goes really high, and it's been a lifesaver for these cells. Like I don't know what I would do without this thing. And the second thing I want to point out is Con Gaming. He has this lift. It doesn't go quite as high, but it drives around, so you can be really high off the ground and actually go around it. It's helped with painting and doing some of the detail work up high around the body itself of the boat. So I want to thank both of them. Like I said, Mechanic 53, that's on the workshop. Cons, I believe, is on the workshop. I'm not 100% sure though. But anyways, let's go ahead and climb up in this ship. Okay, this is inside the ship. Now, this isn't the first level. The first level is going to be where the thrusters are. I'm gonna put a little, I guess, a gate or something down here. I don't know if it's gonna be in this spot. It might be back over there. That way you can go down here and adjust thrusters. You can already see that I've already started to line them up. Now, I'll have the anti-roll thrusters on the side here, and I'll have some other thrusters to help turn this thing. Not 100% sure how I'm gonna do all of this, but that's where all this is gonna be. I'm gonna try to keep walkways, that way you can still walk up and down and adjust the thrusters, but I do wanna try to hide them. At first I was gonna put the thrusters actually on the bottom of the ship, but I really would love to be able to hide them, so you've got those. Now, my point of concern in here, and I've been trying out a bunch of different cannons, so these look a little odd. I've got a couple more out there. I'm a little concerned by the bearings. You can see each cannon's got 3 bearings, and why they have this is I want these flaps or these doors to open up, and I want these cannons to scoot out like that. Now, that looks really cool, but there's a lot of bearings, and there's still like 5 more cannons to do on this right side. It's not too bad right now, so I think it's gonna be possible. I don't really have that many more bearings to put into the ship. This is gonna be the most busy section here. So maybe it'll be okay. Now, you can see these cannons are off the ground. I couldn't weld these to these back parts while the wheels were on for some reason. I guess it wanted to weld it to the ground, so that's why they're floating off the ground right now. But yeah, you'll have a control down here, and then I'll have one where you're actually going to be steering the ship, so you'll be able to do it from there, or you can do it down here. I think it's going to be really cool. Now, I was going to have one central area for controllers, but I decided that it was going to be way too big of a mess to do that, so this area back here is going to be for the cannons and the doors, and there's another group of controllers up here. These are for all the doors on the upper part of the ship. So I want to try to keep this thing somewhat orderly, because by the time this is through, this spider web is going to be a nightmare. But yeah, I've got some of these logic gates down here. I'm using those for the doors up at the top. You can put the double switches without having to do the 2 bearings, so those are really useful. But yeah, back here, this is going to be like the crew quarters. You're going to have some beds in here. I just got a lot of detail work to do in here. And up towards the front, there's a couple rooms up here. This will probably be like storage. Maybe we'll throw a bunch of boxes in here. I'm going to try to make this thing as detailed as possible. So you've got all that. Now let's go ahead and go onto the main deck here. Just hit this switch, and you'll come right out here on top. And you want to close it. There's a switch on each side, so you can just go ahead and close it back. And boom, there you go. All right, this is the main deck. Now this thing has a lot of work that needs to be done to it. I know it looks pretty complete, but I want to make this thing really busy. I want cannons to be poking off the side. I want some just random stuff up here. I want off the sails up here, I'm gonna have nets that are gonna come down, and I've actually got a couple of them built over there. I'll look at those here in a second. What I want to happen is to be able to climb up, I think those are called bird's nest, and the sail's kind of in the way right now. But I want the nets to come off and maybe attach here onto the side. And I think if I can get it at the right angle, you should be able to actually walk up them and get into those up there. So I hope to be able to do that. Now, the sails themselves do not turn. Like, I wanted to make them turn, then I realized this whole ship's gonna have to balance out and hover, and that's gonna be a lot of weight shifting every time you move. So I was really afraid of that, like tipping it over. So I decided to not make those turn, and I'm pretty glad I did that, because it's going to probably save a headache later. But yeah, you've got the 3 sails here. There's 2 bird's nests. The last one, or the one in the back, doesn't have one. Now up here, this is a little area that I've seen on a lot of these galleons. I don't know what it's called. I need to brush up on my ship terminology, because I have no clue like what I'm talking about. Like, this is the front and that's the back, so if I'm not saying something right, just go ahead and point it out in the comments, and I'll brush up on it before the final part. That way I can explain to you guys like what's what. But anyways, there's a little room in here. The controllers you see, that's actually going to connect up there and hold the nets. You've got this front part here. Now I might have another sail. Some of the ships have like a sail that hangs off this. I might do that. I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, it's a nice area. You see these bearings up here. Those are going to be for like little hand cannons. I can actually go up there and look at that. So you can use those to defend the ship. Of course, you'll have the cannons that set on the side, but a lot of times if you're getting attacked from angles, you need a little bit of extra defense here. So you've got those. Now back here, this area is empty. The captain's quarters is up top, but down here I haven't done anything with this. You've got a little balcony here in the back. So there's a lot of detail here, and there's just a lot left to do. But hopefully by I'm gonna call the next part the final for this ship. So I kind of have to get it done. So all this should be filled out by then. Now I did work on the captain's quarters. That's mostly done. So we can go up here, open it up, and you can see in here is a nice area. You got a bed, little desk here. You've got a treasure chest. You open it up, and there's some gold in there. It's really cool looking. But yeah, I like that area. It's nice and cozy. You've got that. Here's the where the captain would steer. I've got a little wheel up there, so you can see that turning. It's gonna be really cool once it's all through and ready to go. It'll be a really busy area. I might actually hide the buttons. I think I might put them somewhere where you can't see them, because it would kind of break it. I mean, it's already weird enough that there's a seat set in here. I mean, it would be nice to be able to like steer it from the wheel. But I think if there was a lot of buttons up here, that would look a little odd. Now, I don't have a way up here yet. I might need to put a small staircase on the side, but this is just another area that you could set on. And I think this thing's just gonna be absolutely epic once it's up in the air and we're actually floating around, because it'd be fun to be up here with a bunch of friends. And the whole thing, I want to be able to like walk around. So this thing's not gonna go too fast, but because I want to be able to like walk around on deck while this thing's in air. So hopefully this all turns out good, because this is a lot of work and I don't want it to go to waste. Like I said, this is about 9 hours of work here, and I've got quite a bit of work to go. So that's why I had to split this up. Initially I wasn't gonna do that, and I decided that I'm not gonna be able to get this through in one hit here, and I need to go ahead and show you guys what I'm doing. That way it doesn't seem like I'm not making scrap mechanic episodes. So I do hope you guys enjoyed this. If you have any suggestions for the ship, I'm open to that. I might even do a little bit more besides the ship. It depends on how bad this thing's gonna lag once it gets up in the air and moving around. That's my only concern, is like once this thing's through, it's gonna be so busy that it's gonna be too laggy for anything else. So I'll see what happens there, and we'll work on that. So I'm thinking this will be through in one more episode. Or actually, it's going to be through. I don't need to say that I think it's going to be through. It's going to be through in one more episode. I should have some time during the week to really work on this thing, get it complete. And then I really want to put this up on the workshop, because I think you guys would have a lot of fun playing around with this. Now, let me go ahead and talk about a couple other things real quick. I'm still getting a lot of suggestions for the town, and I've gone back to the town. I went back to the town yesterday, and it's just there's something not right with the map. It's just not running good. I haven't gotten any crashes, but I haven't been building a lot in it. So I'm really hoping the engine update does something with it. Now that update, from what I've heard, is actually coming in, I think September was the last thing I heard. So hopefully that comes up and makes that whole map a lot better, because I would like to build in that some more for you guys. I know you guys enjoy that, so I look forward to still trying to do that, but I need other projects to do. So I'm still gonna do another city, or not another city, another map, another theme. I'm not sure exactly what it's gonna be. I've been just kind of building. I haven't really settled on one thing, because I have to commit to whatever it's gonna be, so I gotta make sure it's something that I'm really gonna wanna do. So go ahead and keep suggesting that too. I love to see the suggestions for new themes. I've been going through a lot of them, and I've been trying to answer a lot of your guys' questions. So I'll continue to do that, and then we'll finally settle on something. But in the meantime, I'm having a lot of fun doing builds like this, so I'm definitely gonna look forward to completing this and showing you guys the finished product. Anyways, I am sorry that it's not like a big, well, it is a huge build. I'm sorry it's not a complete build yet, but I didn't want to leave you guys hanging, so I figured let's go ahead, make a little update, tease this for you guys. I'm pretty sure quite a few of you are excited for this. This has been a requested item quite a bit. I had a small pirate ship a long time ago, but it really wasn't that great. And I just have a feeling this thing's gonna be epic once it's through. But anyways, hope you guys enjoyed the episode. If you like to like and subscribe, everything helps my channel. And we will see you guys next time. Thank you.